Did you know that without the extinction of the dinosaurs, humankind might never have existed? Exploding head. 55 million years ago, Earth entered an entirely new era. No more Tyrannosaurus, no more Triceratops. The giants who once ruled the planet were gone. In their place, a creature once considered insignificant began to rewrite history. These were the mammals, small, fragile, once forced to hide in the shadows of dinosaurs. But now, as the skies cleared after catastrophe, they stood before the greatest opportunity in the history of evolution. What allowed these tiny survivors to rise? And how did they transform a world of chaos into an age of their own? The answers will surprise you. This is Earth, 55 million years ago. A planet reborn from the darkness of extinction. The skies are clear, the air is warm, and rainforests stretch from the equator all the way to the poles. The climate is unusually hot. Tropical forests spread across regions where ice once ruled. The Arctic, instead of a frozen desert, is a swampy woodland where crocodiles and turtles thrive. The entire planet has become a giant greenhouse, teeming with new life. Flowering plants, the silent architects of this era, play a decisive role. They produce seeds and fruits, creating abundant food supplies. Thanks to them, animals begin to discover new opportunities for survival. In these forests, mammals, once trembling creatures hiding under the claws of dinosaurs, are now rising. Early rodent-like species appear everywhere. Fast, prolific, and highly adaptable, no longer hunted by dinosaurs. They fill ecological niches left empty, spreading across the continents. And here, among the branches, are the earliest primates. Not yet monkeys, not yet humans, but within the bright eyes and dexterous hands lie the seeds of future intelligence. They see more clearly, move more skillfully, and begin to exploit their environment in ways no other creature can. This is the turning point, the moment evolution planted the roots of intelligence. But life was not just fruits and leaves. In the shadows lurked primitive predators, much smaller than today's lions or tigers. Yet their speed and ferocity made them lethal threats to the weak. Above the forest, giant terror birds ruled the skies. Some stood over 2 meters tall, their beaks sharp as daggers. They did not only strike from the air, they hunted on the ground as well. For millions of years, these birds were the apex predators, long before large mammalian hunters would rise. 55 million years ago, Earth was a freshly cleared stage. Every species was experimenting with survival, but only those who adapted fastest would continue the story of life. As the forests flourished, mammals multiplied and diversified. What had once been small, shadow-dwelling creatures now began to grow larger, stronger, and more ambitious. Some became early herbivores, ancestors of today's horses and cattle. They grazed in herds, stripping leaves and shoots from the dense vegetation. Their numbers grew rapidly, and with them came a new sense of dominance over the land. But where there are grazers, there are hunters. Primitive carnivorous mammals, dog-like and cat-like ancestors, emerged. They were swift and cunning, relying on ambush tactics and teamwork to bring down prey larger than themselves. It was the beginning of a new predator-prey arms race that would shape the future of the animal kingdom. Yet not all mammals stayed on land. Some took a bold step back into the seas. These were the ancestors of whales. Starting as land-dwelling hunters, they waded into rivers and shallow coasts, adapting to life in the water. Over millions of years, they would transform into the ocean's giants, masters of the seas. From land to sea, mammals proved one thing: adaptability was the greatest weapon. But Earth itself was not standing still. The continents continued their slow march across the globe. India collided with Asia, thrusting up the Himalayas, while oceans widened, reshaping coastlines and ecosystems. And then, a crisis struck: the Paleocene-Eocene Thermal Maximum, or PETM. Carbon flooded the atmosphere. Temperatures spiked by up to 8 degrees Celsius. Rainforests stretched all the way to the poles. The Arctic became home to crocodiles, turtles, and palm trees. What we would call unthinkable today was reality then, a world so warm that ice was almost non-existent. For animals, it was both a paradise and a trial. In this fiery greenhouse world, not all creatures thrived. Many species could not cope with the sudden heat and perished. But those that endured proved their resilience. Mammals with flexible diets and quick reproduction cycles had the advantage. They could adapt to new environments, shift their feeding habits, and survive where others failed. Meanwhile, flowering plants continued their silent revolution. Their fruits and seeds nourished countless species. In return, mammals and birds scattered their pollen and seeds, building a partnership that reshaped ecosystems forever. And among the survivors, one group stood out, the early primates. With forward-facing eyes, grasping hands, and curious minds, they explored the canopy in ways no other creature could. They were not yet human, but the first sparks of intelligence were already glowing. From these forests, a lineage had begun, a lineage that, millions of years later, would give rise to us. 55 million years ago, Earth was a crucible of change. Mammals were no longer survivors in the shadows. They were explorers, innovators, and future rulers of the world. Their age had truly begun. The world had changed forever. The dinosaurs were gone, but in their absence, a new age had begun. This was the dawn of the mammals, a time when small survivors evolved into creatures that would one day dominate the Earth. Mammals diversified beyond imagination, from tiny rodents scurrying through the undergrowth, to large plant eaters roaming the forests, to predators sharpening their claws in the hunt. Some even returned to the oceans, beginning the long journey to becoming whales, the giants of the seas. And while mammals rose, birds thrived too. They became the new masters of the skies, spreading seeds, carrying pollen, and reshaping entire ecosystems alongside flowering plants. Together, they built the foundations of the modern world. But among them, one group was different: early primates, small, fragile, but with forward-looking eyes and hands that could grasp and explore. In their curiosity lay the first spark of what would one day become human intelligence. From the treetops of the Paleogene, the story of humanity had already begun. The Paleogene Period, 55 million years ago, was not just another chapter in Earth's story. It was the beginning of our own. Without it, without the extinction of the dinosaurs and the rise of mammals, we would not be here. The age of mammals was born in the ashes of giants. And from that rebirth, humanity itself would one day rise. The question is, if another great catastrophe comes, will we be ready? If you enjoyed this journey back in time, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. Do you think mammals could have ever ruled the Earth if dinosaurs had survived? Your voice keeps these stories alive, so let's explore Earth's deep history together. The next chapter is waiting.